They always say men are the ones who cheat, but sometimes the one who betrays, who throws away years of love in a heartbeat, is the woman. My name is Daniel. I spent 10 years of my life sharing the same dream with Claire. In the beginning, we had no money, but we had laughter. We split one sandwich at the park, shared one umbrella in the rain, stayed up all night making plans for the future. Happiness wasn't about money back then, it was about us. But over time, Claire began to change. She used to hold my hand tightly when we walked together. Now, her phone never left her hand. During dinner, she no longer looked into my eyes. She looked down at her screen. And then came the small things. She always placed her phone face down. Notifications were silenced. Meetings are running late, she would say. Sunday morning, she claimed she was going to the gym, but the water bottle she carried always came back full. At first, I told myself these were coincidences. Stress, work, routine. But one night, I noticed it. A new perfume. Not one we had chosen together. Not one I had ever smelled before. A stranger's scent on my wife's skin. That's when my heart knew. It didn't take long to learn his name. Adrian, her new boss. The man behind the late night meetings, the Sunday workouts, the secret messages. I had no proof, but my soul screamed the truth, and I decided not to catch her in lies, but to make her face the choice she was already making. Our wedding anniversary was approaching. I booked a small hotel by the lake, a table for two. On the card I wrote, "Back to where we began." But that week, Claire looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Friday night, I have an urgent meeting." Her voice didn't shake. She didn't even blink. That night, I didn't drive to the lake. I parked near the street where she said her meeting would be. And I waited 1 hour, 2, 3. Then I saw them. Adrian's hand was on her back. She laughed in the dim light. They kissed briefly outside the restaurant. She fixed her hair, touched his arm. And for a moment, I saw her reflection in the glass, smiling like I hadn't seen in years. And I knew, it's over. I went home. On the table, I left 2 envelopes. One held the hotel reservation, the other preliminary divorce papers. On both, I wrote, "Before you tell me your choice, remember the choice you've already made." That night, she came home late. She saw the envelopes. Silence. Heavy, endless. Silence. "Daniel," she whispered. As if saying my name for the very first time, she tried to explain. She lowered her head. I felt invisible. You were always at work. Adrian, he listened. He made me feel alive again. But there was no love in her words, only escape. And I told her, "I always heard you, Claire, even when you stayed silent. But silence wasn't protecting us. It was destroying us." We didn't separate that night. For a week we talked. We ripped the lies off one by one, like bandages over old wounds. But in the end, one truth remained. Cheating is not a feeling. It is a choice. Weeks later, Adrian told her he needed time. Time. The lie every cheater hides behind. Not long after, Adrian found someone new. Claire's phone went quiet. The meetings stopped. At work, gossip spread like wildfire. She lost her job. And then she came to me. Her eyes were filled with regret. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I don't want to lose you." But some doors, once closed, never open again. I told her quietly, "It's over." Because forgiveness doesn't mean going back. Forgiveness means finally saying, "I'm done carrying this weight." Months passed. One day we ran into each other at the grocery store. I stood at one end of the aisle, she at the other. Between us, shelves of canned food, boxes of detergent, the mountains of ordinary life. For a second, our reflections met in the glass. 10 years of memories flashed before me. Picnics, coffee, rain, that perfume. She lowered her head as if to say, "Enough." I whispered the same word. Enough. Because betrayal isn't always an explosion. Sometimes it's a slow leak in the foundation of your life, until one day, the whole house collapses. And I learned something. Real love needs trust, and once trust is gone, nothing can stand. Now I want to ask you, if you were in my shoes, Would you have forgiven her? Or would you have let her face the consequences of her own choices, alone?